to everyone because it was very exciting. Alan wants to come and go through the first of those great games with me, where it was London 11, Salford 8. London leading 9-0 at half-time and clinging on effectively in front of 809 people down at Ealing Trailfinders. Scott Michalauskas was the referee, and we had a few of the family at the game. Do you want to give us the first person's fan review?
Yep, so Dr. Hideous says London's first 8 points all came directly from Salford errors, and the last 2 from the abominable practice of getting a penalty from chucking the ball at a player who is offside at the play of the ball. Only the drop goal in between was all our own work. Nevertheless, Broncos' defence was heroic and the win was deserved. Robert Louis might be able to beat his wife, but he can't beat the Broncos.
The thing about the penalty, that was described in the match write-up in League Express as Eloi Pellicier's quick thinking. There you go. Paul Chamberlain said the date change and the weather stuffed any chance of atmosphere, but a breakout performance by the Broncos, even with a spell down to 12 men and several goal line stands. This was the first game of the season in which the defence looked impeccable. I'm sure the doctor enjoyed this, and Toulouse and Toronto wins. Fair play to the Salford fans who made the trip. Yeah, there was a post on social media actually from Robert Louis' missus.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, who travelled down with the Salford fans on the bus. So and was giving a lot of credit to the Salford fans for the way they treated her kids, and you know, she's not used to getting treated so well.
Yes. So Ryan Davis says, followed this one on Twitter. No radio commentary available, which says as much about the media penetration of Salford as it does the Broncos. Unbearably tense match, but a superb result that kicked off the Championship's very own Super Saturday.
Yeah, that was a challenge of this game, the fact that you couldn't follow it anywhere. I'd assumed I would be able to listen to it on radio. I was actually gutted when I remembered that it had been moved to Saturday so that the other game next week could be on TV and against Salford and Toulouse, not so that this game could be, because I wanted to watch this one, and it looks like it was really, really tense. From what I have read, London's Alex Walker continues to impress in this period. Is pretty flawless, and that was important. But Salford brought Jack Littlejohn back into the side, so if I'd have known that a week ago when I did my predictions, obviously I wouldn't have expected them to. I mean, they did well to score 2 tries with that absolute joke of a half-back on the pitch. So yeah, well done to London. Really spiced things up there. I don't really have anything else to say about this one.
Not really. Only really a general comment about the fact that London have now beaten 2 teams from they've dropped down, from into the middle eights. It'd be a frustrating thing if they managed to win those 2 games and then not even make the £1 million game, which is still possible. But yeah, I mean, they have to. You'd have to say they have to view it as a success, even if they don't go up, or even if they don't make the game. They've shown something of themselves in this tournament, which is you've got to give them credit for.
Fair enough. I was going to get Sarah to do the Toulouse versus Hull KR game because she's got a good one-liner. But Sarah, why don't you just deliver the one-liner that you mentioned before about the T-shirts that the Hull KR faithful wore when we went down, and then Alan can go through the fan reviews with us. So it was Toulouse 34, Hull KR 23. It was actually 19-18 to the Rovers at half-time, and Sarah's scrambling around. She can't remember what she said only a couple of hours ago. 4,127, which is one of the highest crowds I've seen reported on a Toulouse game, so that's a positive, and I think that was helped by a big contingent of Hull KR fans that went over. Ben Thaler also went over to be the referee. What did the tour t-shirt say?
It said, Hull Kingston Rovers haven't gone to lose.
They've gone to France, they haven't gone to lose.
Something like that, yeah. But they did go to lose.
They did. That was far more dynamic when we were eating pizza.
That was 2-3 hours ago.
Blame the timing, yeah.
Do you want to give us the first fan review, Alan?
Yes, so Tom Andrews has been in touch on this one, as I bet this will be fun. Fucking embarrassing. 34 unanswered points against a Championship side is unforgivable. Too many senior players going missing when the going gets tough. Twitchy ass time next week. At least, rather unfairly, we will know what we need to do as we play last. God, it's hard being a Rovers fan. Wish I was a Saints fan getting upset because my fullback has got off the boil, not worrying if I'm off to fucking Batley again.
In Our Shadow said, look on the bright side, it's not as bad as when 20-0 and fucked it up.
Way!
Do we know who that is?
No, not a clue, but maybe it's Tom's missus. I hope it's Paige.
Yeah. Oh,
I think it's Carl Brooks.
Oh no, I hope it's Paige. Anyway,
But
so
we'll pretend it's Paige.
yeah. We can say what we want. A final view on this one comes from Brian Davis again. He said, "Followed this one on Twitter while watching the Wire game. When Hull KR got off to an early lead, it looked as though the result would go to form, but then Toulouse hit back with 34 unanswered points for a late consolation try by Craig Hall. Part 2 of Super Saturday complete."
Yeah, it's really interesting. Obviously, it was 19-0 to Hull KR in the early goings on this one, and you would have thought a Super League side with someone as experienced as the likes of Danny Maguire, Todd Carney, and Sean Lunt out there pulling the strings would have been able to see this one home. So it's quite shocking that they didn't. They actually also had the advantage of a player in the sin bin from early on. When they did stretch their lead out to that 19-point advantage, William Bartow went into the sin bin for dissent. That's his. It was Stan Robin last week, weren't it? Against Toulouse, against Toronto.
But Bartow would have
yeah,
as well.
And then there was a couple of scraps as well. Tyler Heffey and James Greenwood went off for fighting just before half time. The frustration must have been starting to show for Hull KR. So I think they were obviously drawn into something a little bit and pulled down to a level where then that creates space for people like Jonathan Ford and Mark Corella, who are like the class of that division, and talking about them as being championship players is a little bit unfair. They've got the skill level to be Super League players. I think it's just they probably lack the consistency and I don't know, maybe the professionalism earlier in their careers or something to get to that level, but they're a joy to watch, and I think everyone enjoys to lose now. So we all like winning, but we all also enjoy to lose. To score 34 unanswered points, they got basically they'd won the game by the hour mark, even though they'd been so far behind after 20 minutes. So you've got to credit them for coming back against the Super League side. I didn't think they had it in them whatsoever.
Toulouse, they've actually got quite a good sort of 9 or 10 minutes on YouTube of this match, just played to music, and it's worth watching if you're an FC fan, because where the camera is, it's in the Hull KR stand, and you can see the fans' face changing throughout. But Hull KR's tackling was just piss poor, to be perfectly honest. Some of them tries were well worked, but some of them were walk-ins just from missed tackles. I think they got everything they deserved. In terms, they were quite a good fight as well, so I'll definitely try and find that YouTube video.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll move on from that now onto the Toronto versus Widnes game. Langers is going to help go through these fan reviews for us.
So we're starting once again with Carsten.
We always do start with Carsten, but before we do start with Carsten, let's talk about the impressive 8,381 crowd that was on. Robert Hicks was the referee. It finished 20 points to 12 to the Toronto Wolfpack, confirming Widnes go down. Just touch on that crowd just for a second, because it looked like that, didn't it?
It did.
There wasn't much space, and for once, the fans were really packed in that middle section as well. There was no space between them, as well as little space at the end. So it looked like a normal Toronto kind of crowd at the start, and you sort of think, I could believe you that if you said there was 6,000 on. I'm not sure how you're counting how many are in the ends, but this did look like it was really full.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a picture today on Twitter with it was taken down the side where the craft beer tents. Or
that was after the game,
and that was there was no you couldn't see any of the ground. You just saw heads.
Yeah,
and there must have been a couple of thousand people just in that bit there. So it just shows you the number of people that are there and they're kind of staying around after the game as well.
Yeah. Do you want to take us through Carsten's view then? That rudely cut you off from the before Langers.
Carsten, our most reliable reviewer. Toronto grubby as usual, and Widnes not good enough as usual. Pretty much the result I had expected. Toronto has to go through a lot of changes if they want to compete at a Super League level. Neil
McEwen said, "Well, today we were finally put out of our misery. The club has been in free fall since Brown left and the board didn't replace him. We've some good youth, but they've been surrounded by shite. Bad thing is, these young players will be poached by other clubs and hardly get game time. This relegation lands on James Rule's desk, but he's not arsed. He's an emu with his head in the sand. See you in 10 to 15 years. Crying face emoji. I feel bad. I was all pumped up with that for let's go and fucking deck James Rule, but now the crying face has just made me feel low.
Yeah, he's just resigned his club now. Followed by 1976, the writing has been on the wall for most of the season. Tonight it was confirmed that Widnes will play in the Championship next year. Goodbye Super League, it's been emotional.
I hope this doesn't mean the end to the contributions of people like Neil and Paul to the show, because they're valuable insights, and I'm sure they'll still be going watching Widnes next year.
Paul's got his season ticket already, hasn't he?
Yeah, for him, his dad, his daughter. His dad's not happy about it.
Is he a strong old member?
Yes.
Is that what they call him?
Yeah.
Stupid maybe, but just the same as all of us.
Yeah.
Genghis Campbell said, if you beat a Super League team, but they're relegated immediately after you've beaten them, have you actually beaten a Super League team?
It's one of the philosophical debates that we'll get into.
Schrodinger's Super League, yeah. Write that down.
There's your title. Martin Simpson.
How do you spell Schrodinger?
We'll Google it.
So Martin Simpson. Cooler conditions did not make for a faster game, shows just how impressive Toulouse were last week. Is it too late for a 14-team Super League? I do not want to lose in the £1 million game. After losing Stanley, Toronto was still able to create space for Russell to score in the corner. Fans criticised Widnes for singing in the pub. It started as a chat between fans and players. Great to see togetherness after an awful season.
That's an interesting talking point, isn't it? We'll get through the next couple of things, because I don't know if it'll come up again, and then we'll talk about that, because if anything it was more interesting in the game, which went the way we were expecting. Brian Davies said, I really thought Toronto were going to cock this one up. Widnes gave it their best shot, but they are really a poor side. Toronto's discipline was poor again, giving away easy yardage and letting the pressure off Widnes. They have finally beaten a Super League side though, even if it was only Widnes. Feel sorry for Ludo and the other Widnes fans, but with Super League will be stronger without them. Now if only Salford could get relegated too. Well, Wakefield are next on that hit list if you're talking about.
I was just going to say, yeah.
Not this year actually, fifth in the table again, aren't they? Glass houses, they don't have any glass at that ground, they've barely got a roof.
Corrugated.
It's all glass at the end, isn't it?
That's true, the flats do have glass on them.
Flats.
Benidorm.
Yeah.
Mark Butler. Another winnable game gone, which probably isn't a surprise after that many defeats. The nuts and bolts of it probably aren't that interesting at this stage, but losing ground with a man advantage and a steady accumulation of penalties against while still in the game tell you everything about where the team is, practically sabotaging itself. Ultimately, you get what you deserve.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it, for Widnes, is they've just been so uninspiring that there's not much to talk about in this game. They just didn't tackle with any sort of conviction, they didn't run with any sort of conviction, and some of the players that have never played at this higher level were the better players on the pitch. People like Wallace was probably the most sparky player on the pitch and most creative, and that's on a pitch with people that have played in Super League. I mean, I know they've got young Lyons who does look like a talent, needs to be nurtured along, but people like Finn and Mellor really weren't good enough, and ultimately it's been like that all year for them, whereas Toronto had a few people who were good enough in this game. The wingers played particularly well, I thought, for Toronto. Russell and Mason Caton-Brown had the best games I've seen them do in a Toronto shirt.
Yeah, but both those players are Super League quality, and you would expect them to get a place in most of the sides.
Yeah,
I think Mason Caton-Brown, he falls into that camp. I think he's been very unlucky where he's been. He just doesn't seem to get a run. I mean, last year when John Stone was out, he looked good. But
I don't think he would have been allowed to leave Wakefield if Wakefield was still in a chance of a top 4 spot, realistically at the point of the transfers. If Wakefield were a bit closer at that stage, then I don't think he would have been allowed to leave anyway. Interesting. What Toronto's discipline though, they've got to sort that out, haven't they? No, they're going to lose any goodwill, aren't they? Especially with Toulouse now generating a lot more goodwill because they entertain us and they're not as filthy.
Yeah, I mean, Toronto have had 2 seasons of having semi-Super League quality sides just beating up on lower sides and being able to